Hi, welcome back to the Sakhir International Circuit, and for the end of free practice 2, where Pat Simmons, we are ruminating and digesting on what we've seen. And did you enjoy that session?
Yeah, I did. I thought
Why?
It came to life, actually. You know, there's a lot of things to look at, and just as we were saying, that first session is a very odd session.
Yeah.
I really thought that did come to life. We could see that where the performance was starting to lie, and there was plenty going on.
Okay, so what specifically struck you about where the performance lies at the moment? Raikkonen's run?
Yes, absolutely. I thought that was very good. We could see that soft tyres looked good, but the super softs are hanging in there. And I think we could see that Bottas was probably not making them last as well as some of the others. And this is, of course, what we suspected earlier, that on a real limited circuit, were Mercedes going to have a little bit more of a problem?
Well, indeed. And you mentioned Valtteri Bottas because, Christian, I don't know whether you've seen this, he is responsible for a lot of floor damage on Max Verstappen's car. Should we have a look at the T-wing falling off? And this was halfway through the session.
Yeah.
Have you seen this before, Christian?
Yeah, yes, I have, and it cost us a few quid today. So
how much? Come on, how much is a floor in a rear wing?
Several £1,000s, and a lot of downtime. So they should be absolutely banned. Get rid of them. Illegal, dangerous, all of those things.
You're not sitting on the fence over this one, then,
no,
Christian?
absolutely not.
Why would it not be so bad for you, given that you don't run them, to ban them immediately? And have you wanted to ban them, to be fair to you, since day one in Australia, I think, haven't you?
Before that, but look, I think, you know, unfortunately, that's what's happened. I don't think they're going to be banned based on, you know, that falling off.
They might be.
You never know, but I doubt it. I don't think Charlie's got that strong an appetite to get rid of them this
really?
season.
Why not? Why not, Pat?
Yeah, why not, Pat?
Why hasn't
Well,
Charlie
you've got a
that?
strategy meeting coming up in a couple of weeks, haven't you?
Oh,
so
yeah,
I'm sure it's going to be
those,
discussed.
you know how useful they are. So we might agree to get rid of them for 2021 in that, at least. But
I think there's a good case for getting rid of them now.
They should get rid of them. I mean, they look horrible.
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
dangerous.
And okay, you did some damage, and you know, a floor's 25 grand. It's not something to be sneezed at.
Yeah.
But if that goes through a tyre in the middle of a race, you know, that's really going to be dangerous. It's certainly going to ruin a race.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm all for getting rid of them.
Well, Charlie's got that lovely cop out of, you know, grounds of safety. So if he wanted to use it, he could do. So you should go and have a chat with him.
Never mind. I'm sorry to say, you know, never mind a 25 grand floor and a 50 grand rear wing. If it bounces along the ground and hits Max in the head.
Well, you're really getting serious now. So
well, I am quite getting serious. I mean, am I that? Won't somebody think of the safety here? Come on, I mean,
it can apply to any component on the car. But I think, look, it needs.
Yeah, but this is the second time that Bottas' T-wing has fallen off.
It's not just Bottas. You know, obviously we've seen issues with the Haas and so on. And people think, oh, it's sour grapes because we're not running one. It's nothing to do with that. I think that it does need looking at properly.
Okay, all right.
And I'm on your side with that.
Oh, well done, thank you.
Good. You have an important meeting to go to.
Do I?
Apparently.
Oh,
yes.
right.
So
wait, they always say that when I'm speaking to you.
So we'll let you go. Thank you very much for your time. And let's hear from the man who hit that T-wing, Max Verstappen.
Max, it looked like you went over Valtteri Bottas's T-wing there. How much damage did it cause?
Yeah, we had to change the floor, so quite a lot, actually. I didn't expect that it would cause that much damage, but of course it's not ideal, you know. You lost, again, your long run a bit, so yeah, but a bit unfortunate as well, I guess.
Overall, though, seeing how close Daniel got, do you think you're a little bit closer than you expected this weekend?
Yeah, it's a bit strange. We look, or at least the other side of the game looks quite competitive. We are struggling still a bit. I mean, we both run 2 different configurations on the car, but still not entirely happy. But we'll see tomorrow.
Thanks, Max. That's better.
It's all right. It's not quali, but yeah, if it was quali, I'd take that for now. Actually, I'd be pissed because we're pretty close to pole essentially. But no, it was a good day. You know, I'm not reading too much into the low fuel stuff because at the moment, obviously, it looks good, but doesn't make a whole lot of sense compared to a week ago. So we'll be reserved with that. But yeah, generally good day. We did everything we had to. A lot of laps. It's nice to drive in the heat. Last week I was cold, so I enjoy this a lot.
Now, I hate to bring you up on a point of contradiction, but when we spoke pre-season, you said that you felt that this was the best chance you'd ever had of winning a title. Yet when you spoke yesterday in your press conference, you're saying you're trying to manage your expectations. Are you somewhere in between right now?
Yeah, like I'm kind of not sure if my name's Daniel, David, Darren. I don't really know anything anymore.
Makes two of us.
Like Zoolander, when he looks into the puddle. Who am I? Or is it the puddle? Yeah, anyway. What'd you ask me?
I've no idea. Should we end it on that?
You lost me at hello.
You lost me at hello. Okay, so actually, the way that Red Bull can change a car from a Friday to a Saturday, would you think that will give another little headache for Mercedes, especially on the long run pace?
Yeah, well, the long run pace today, Daniel's not sounding too confident there, but I don't know why, because I thought his long run pace looked
that's what
really
I mean.
good.
Yeah.
He did a good run on the soft tyres that I think certainly equalled Vettel and arguably was actually a little bit better.
Well, Sebastian had his own issues, and let's sort of take the temperature at the back of Ferrari, where I think they're looking like a very relieved team, Pat, because that could have been after Kimi lost a whole load of running time in FP1. For this issue to affect Sebastian Vettel and for it to be very quickly recovered to the pits was fortuitous, wasn't it? Because, well, what did it look like to you?
Well, it's not fortuitous, This is why I love working with these elite sportsmen like this, because this isn't fortune. This is a guy who's thinking. This is a guy who's on top of the game. This is a guy who knows exactly what he's got to do. And he's sort of thought of that even before he's had any radio communication from the team. He's pressed the button. He's got it in neutral. He's got a total power failure, so he can't even pull the clutch. He has to hit that neutral button.
Or else what?
Or else the car is stuck in gear and it's just going to stop on the track. So real quick thinking there.
Yeah.
And
So
I just love working with guys like that.
So not that the gears are going to munch themselves together and he might have a gearbox issue.
No, that's not a real problem. Although
But he knows.
when you do get a power cut, you can get the servo valves that control the gearbox can go a bit wild, but you put a bias on them to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But what will definitely happen is you'll be locked in gear and
Session
you're stuck.
over.
Exactly.
And what
so
he-
real good thinking there.
And that he knows that he's close enough, and maybe it was fortuitous that the marshals were able to push him back. And there's not really a service road in there. I mean, they had to do it in the pit lane,
Yeah.
didn't they? And he
Yeah.
can resume his session, which he did.
Yeah, good thinking.
Smart thinking. All right, well, let's see what the man himself, the four-time world champion Sebastian, had to say to Rachel.
Sebastian, a couple of issues today, but otherwise topping the timesheets and looking good on race pace. Could it even be a three-way battle around here, do you think, this weekend?
I don't know. They looked already a bit stronger this morning or this afternoon. So, I haven't seen much yet. We were quite busy. Obviously, we had a bit of an issue. So, I think we were lucky to, recover and get some laps in the end. I think overall it was okay, but we can improve. So let's see what happens tomorrow.
Sebastian, on paper it looks a pretty good day, topping the timesheets in both sessions. But what was the problem out there on the track this evening?
Don't know. Must have been some sort of glitch. All of a sudden, everything was dark. I think as we saw after, there was no damage. I think we were lucky that we could recover with the issue happening late in the lap, but we don't know yet, so I'm sure we can fix it. But nowadays, cars are not just cars. There's also a lot of technology or software involved, so I think something went wrong on that side.
But easily fixed. Sorry about the loss of sound. I think Rachel's mic went off for some reason. And there he is. And, well, what do you think about this weekend? Is it simplistic to say that Ferrari can only lose it from here? Or tell me what Mercedes will be doing this evening to try and get these tyre temperatures or whatever it is under control.
Well, Ted, I think to say that Ferrari can only lose it is really overstating the case. This is a competitive season. And
You have met me before, haven't you?
They're going to be at each other hammer and tongs. Now, what Mercedes need to do, and I was speaking to Valtteri this morning, even before they ran, he knew what was going on. They've got to look after these rear tyres. And the evidence from this afternoon is that they've still got work to do on that.
Okay. And tell me, what kind of mechanisms will all the teams be doing for that? Is that a camber thing? Is that a simulation? Will they run this session again with lots of different
Yeah,
Lots of different...
they'll certainly be using simulation. You know, that is the way you arrive at your setup, and they'll be looking at the tyre energies with different setups. They will have done most of that already. You know, they will have come here knowing, as indeed we've been talking about all day really, that this is a real limited circuit. You've got to set your car up to suit. So it's not as if it's a surprise to them. And therefore a lot of that work will have been pre-prepared. They've now got to look at it and say, wow, you know, we've got to go a bit further. Now, I was speaking during P2 about some of the compromises that you have to make. So, you know, we saw with the Sauber running very, very soft rear roll stiffness.
Yeah.
And the compromise you have then is lifting the front wheel. But sometimes you might say, well, actually, we've got to put up with that because it's looking after the rear tyres.
Okay.
So that's the sort of thing they'll be looking at tonight.
I see what you mean. Okay, all right. Let's hear from Seb's teammate, Kimi Räikkönen.
Kimi, you go very well around here, and it looks like the Ferrari's got some decent race pace. Is the win on for you this weekend?
I don't know. I mean, it's too early to say. Obviously, it will be tricky conditions, probably more hot than in last few years. So, you know, still a lot of work to be done to be ready, but it's always the same story after Friday. So.
I must admit, I didn't hear a word of that. It's nice of Ferrari to let us... thank you very much, Ferrari, to let us hear from the drivers, but I didn't hear from that. Just a thought for Mattia Binotto, Kieran, just walking with the Ferrari press chap, the taller chap on the left-hand side. The job that he's done over the winter, and since he took over the technical reins after James Allison left the team in the middle of last year. What have you made?
Well, he's done a fantastic job, hasn't he? Yeah. And much to our surprise, because I think we all know how good James was, and I certainly said, well, you know, this is a mistake that Ferrari have made to let James go. And I know there were a lot of other circumstances in it. But this guy's come along, he's an engine man, but they seem to have a superb chassis. Us Brits sometimes talk about, you know, can the Italians organise their racing team? He's organised it. I mean, he's a revelation. He's done a super job.
Okay, well, he's the manager, of course. We should credit Simone Resta. Do we think Rory Byrne is still has been involved in this chassis somewhere?
Yeah, Rory's always involved. I haven't spoken to Rory for a few months now, but I know, you know, he just will not stop. Yeah. And he's a sort of minister without portfolio. He can go in where he chooses, and that's the respect that they have for Rory at Ferrari. And without a doubt, new set of regulations, yeah, it's where Rory just comes to life.
Okay, quick one. The other thing, are you expecting Hülkenberg to get a penalty, getting in the way, sort of Hamilton on the racing line?
I actually think this might be a reprimand.
Right.
I think it was bad, it was dangerous, but the onus has to be on the team to get on the radio and to advise him. So a hard one. Yeah, I mean, Hülkenberg will probably argue that he was being told to change something on the dials and his head was inside the cockpit and not looking in the mirrors. But yeah, and that's why the team need to help him. Now, you know, I know the rules say the driver must drive the car alone and unaided, but you can't do that these days. These are complicated cars. The team have to work with him. Okay, all right. Thanks very much, Pat. Still loads to come on Sky F1, so stay with us because we've got a Good Friday feast of motorsport, if that kind of thing exists, with F2 qualifying next, followed by the team principals press conference with